everybody. Today I thought I would share with you guys some tips and pointers on cleaning and taking care of your luxury handbags. So if you guys have been watching any of my previous videos, you know that my house just went through a complete remodel. And in that remodel, there was a lot of drywall work. And unfortunately, even though the closet was blocked off, there was still a ton of drywall dust, and I am still in the middle of cleaning my closet. It has taken a very long time, but as I was doing this, I thought, you know what? I'm going to share with you some of the things that I did to clean my handbags, and you'll be surprised that you really don't need anything fancy. You don't need creams, you don't need, baby wipes, you don't need any of that stuff. Actually, guys, the one thing that I usually clean my bags with is a soft, okay, not a regular. There's a soft microfiber, and then there's the microfiber that's really like rough and tears your fingers up when you use them. I use a soft microfiber cloth because it doesn't leave any of the residue that like a regular towel or something will use. Don't use a paper towel either by any means. But what I normally do is I will take like this bag, for example, which is still very dusty. You don't need anything. If it's just dust, little residue, you just simply wipe the bag off. Now, if there is some, I don't know, let's say you got a little bit of like coffee or something is on here, all you really need to do is dampen and slightly dampen the rag and simply wipe off whatever it is on there. Like this large tote bag has a lot of drywall dust on it. And what I will do is I will simply wipe off, and there's actually some other residue on here. So I will dampen that and simply wipe it off. You don't need, unless you have something that's spilled on it or you have a stain or something you're really worried about, you don't need to use any cleansers on it. Let me tell you, a little damp rag will pretty much remove almost anything. Now, I live in a very dry state, so I will put occasionally, maybe once a year, okay, I will put on a leather cleaner and then a leather conditioner, okay? Now, the leather cleaner is only if the bag is dirty and I have been using it and it's filthy. Otherwise, you can get by with just some conditioner. And again, use a very light hand. You don't need to saturate your bags with anything. The other thing I do make sure I do is every time I use my bags, the one thing I will do is I will take the bag and I will remove everything out of the bag when I am switching handbags. If I'm done, everything comes out. There's no pens, there's no makeup, there's no lipsticks, nothing. And then I will wipe the bag down. If I've set it down, like sometimes you set it on something, or God forbid, the floor, if you're somewhere, I always clean off the bottoms. So in cleaning my bags, some of them required a little bit more than just a wiping down. And on bags like this here, wiping will not get all of the dust off of it, okay? I also have this bag here, which has some weaving to it and some cute detail on it, okay? In these cases, if you wipe, you're simply gonna be pushing the dust into the crevices. So what I had to do with this bag, I had to literally go through and brush. Now, you can use a very soft paintbrush. This one happened to come from my husband's auto detailing kit. It's a very nice soft brush. The bristles don't come out when you're using it. You can also use a very soft suede brush, but I like this one because it has a nice handle and I can go through, and I had to go through all of my wicker bags and brush all of the dust off of them. Now this brush also comes in handy if you are cleaning bags like this one here, this Roberto Cavalli. You know, it has some little crevices right here where maybe you can't get in all those spots. Let me tell you, this brush will clean off a lot of that dust, okay? You don't need to wet it, you don't need to scrub it, you don't need to put cleaners on it. This will do the trick. Also good for bags like this one, where again, I have all these little tiny spaces where all this dust can get in, and this soft brush is not going to hurt the leather, it's not going to scratch it, and it will get most of this off. I think the one thing people do have, I guess, questions or trouble with is either a suede bag or one that is like exotic leathers. Now I take, say, my python bags. Okay, so I am not going to just take a rag and start rubbing on this, because you don't want the scales to start popping up, which they can do, not only from wear and tear, but just from improper cleaning. And again, a very soft brush, and go with the grain, so to speak, wherever the scales are, and just lightly get all of the dust off of that bag. So same with like a suede or a velvet type handbag like this one here. You can use a suede brush, which you can get very inexpensively, and also clean the bag off. Again, I just like this one. Well, one, because it was here, and I just like the long handle, and it's a lot more maneuverable for me. But yes, suede brush is very good at cleaning off the dust and getting your suede and velvet bags clean. Again, don't need to wet it, don't need to do anything with it. The other thing that works if you don't have a soft microfiber is, you know what, a 100% cotton t-shirt. One that maybe you are no longer using. You can use these to wipe down your bags. You can also use it when you are applying your leather cleaner and your conditioners. And again, for beaded handbags, I would do the same thing. I would use a very, very delicate touch, and I would simply just get the dust off of the bag if there is any at all. You want to be very careful with beaded bags. You can also use the little air spray apparatuses that kind of just spray off your keyboards on your computer, and that will also take off some of the dust that's on it. So sometimes your leather bags may look a little dull. Maybe they don't need like a thorough leather conditioning, they just need a little pick-me-up. And in that case, I will use something like these Express Shines for shoes. Just something to kind of rejuvenate it, condition it a little bit, and give it a little bit of a nice new sheen to it. And on these, again, very light-handed, guys. You don't want to be, you know, saturating your bag with anything, but just a light rubbing on it will give it like a fresh new look to it, and it won't damage because it's made for leathers. So in order to prevent having to clean your bag so thoroughly and worrying about damage, again, is prevention. So like I said, I will empty out my handbags when I am finished with them. Make sure everything is out, wipe it down if anything did happen to spill on it, and I will safely put it back in place. Now, I don't use my dust covers because I like to see my bags, and also I'm in a very dry climate, so I like everything to kind of breathe. So what I will do is, after wiping it down, of course, the one thing I highly recommend, it doesn't have to be these, but I love them because they're just perfect and they're soft and they're pretty, are these satin little pillows. the inserts that go into the bags. They make them for pretty much any size and style of handbag you have, okay? So by placing these inside the bags, holds its shape, okay? Because it does cost money to have your bag reshaped, as I know. And when I do put my bags back on the shelf, I make sure that no one is touching the other, especially the chains. You don't want chains to be laying on your bag or being pushed up against it. An indentation on your bag, which is very difficult to get out, okay? So you want to make sure you're keeping your bags separate. Now, if they do have chains on them, one thing you can do to help, okay, prevent this from happening, you can use multiples on a longer chain, but I use these little seat belt. They're actually used for seat belts to have like a little padding when it leans up against you. But I use these, okay, and then I simply wrap them around the chain to help it from, one, to keep it from hitting this bag so much, but also the one next to it. And make sure you're just lying them nicely to where they're not pushed up against each other again. Give your bag space, because if they're crammed up together, you may have some color transfer. You don't want that. And also, again, you don't want like any indentations in your bags. Like I said, if all else fails, leave it to a professional, okay? So you don't ruin your bag. I've heard of so many people ruining bags by putting on, you know, some kind of cleaner or using baby wipes or sanitizing wipes. You don't have to put all that stuff on your bags, guys. So guys, I hope this helps on giving you some cleaning tips for your handbags. It doesn't have to be overly complicated, guys, especially if it's just everyday dirt or dust or anything on the bag. Simply a soft bristle brush, a soft microfiber towel, or 100% cotton t-shirt. That will usually do the job for simple cleaning on your bags, okay? Okay, guys, so that is it for me today. And until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye.